Hey guys, you're back with Steph and Dennis, and today we're talking about how much we spent as a couple over the past month. Okay, so it's almost the end of October when we're filming this right now, and we actually tracked our expenses and our spending throughout the entire month. So you'll see a lot of what we spent. We're gonna walk through it all. We actually do have a lot of the same expenses. We do live here in downtown Toronto as a couple, but a lot of our individual expenses will cover as well as we go through all the totals. So if you're excited for this video and to see how much we spend and for more like it, give us a like and subscribe down below, and let's get started. Okay, so we've done some of these what I spend in a week, what I've spent in a month videos before. And if you've been on our channel before, you also know that Den and I are big on our saving, on not spending.
This is true.
On sticking to our budget, everything like that. So typically our what I spend in a month that we've done before have been pretty good, pretty stuck to our budget. I guess kind of boring from that perspective. What's good about us doing this, what we spend in a month, this month, is that it's probably our highest spending month, both for me and for Den, that we've had throughout the year, and hopefully will have for the last few months of the year. So actually a little bit more insight into when we do spend more on our expenses, what those look like for us, and they are pretty different. Like I said, we do have some...
Very different, yeah.
We do have some of our same fixed expenses, but our variable ones are definitely different, and you'll see that as we dive through. So we're gonna start going kind of week by week and give our weekly totals each, and then also our total monthly one and some of our takeaways on this month's spending.
Before we even jump in, I just want to point out, you guys are probably noticing this bootleg mic that I got going right here. Basically, our mic, we thought it ran out of batteries, like similar to the one that she has.
Yeah.
But it turns out it actually broke and we didn't know. So this is the only other mic we've got. So
yeah,
hopefully this works actually. This is the first time doing it, so yeah, fingers crossed.
And hopefully next week we'll have our normal mic setup back.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I'm gonna kick it off with all of my expenses from the first week of October. So a little bit more. The 1st through the 10th we'll do in one chunk, because there was that little tiny week at the very beginning of the month.
Week 1.
Week 1. So for me, for week 1, it was definitely my highest spending week of the entire month by a long shot, mostly because my rent, and our rent, but my half of the rent came out this week. So we've talked about this before, but that's a static $925 each per month. So that was in this week. And then honestly, a lot of food expenses. That's pretty much the rest of it. I did go to the Shoppers. Whenever I say Shoppers, Drug Mart, that's our pharmacy. For me, that's prescription cost, and also anytime we need toiletries, we go there. In this case, it was both. So that was $65.59 for the week, for the month at Shoppers. And then otherwise, just too much food, honestly. I was not good this month on food. So I did go to Starbucks for the first time this week, and my expense was $50. That sounds crazy, but it's because I always reload my card with a static amount for the whole month the first time I go, and then I try and just do it one time. This month I did it twice. So.
You know, that actually caught me off guard at first. I saw $50 and I was like, what, $50 in one day? What did you buy? I don't remember that.
No. But it was bad this month. I didn't do a good job. So for me, when we do go to Starbucks, there's one close to us. It's just not good, but I do go there too much. Normally I get coffees for both of us, or we'll get food there as well, which we definitely did this month, which is part of why it's higher. So for this week, $50 on the books for Starbucks. And then a little bit of door dashing as well. That's our food service provider of choice. Den's been good this month. I've always been like, are you sure you want to buy that again? And unfortunately I said yes many times this month. But we did get our new favorite Thai spot at the beginning of the month. It's called Pi in Toronto. Highly recommend if you're here.
Highly recommend. Really, really good. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised. Like, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, typically he's picky. Yeah. Picky in terms of quality. So it was $76.86, which is way more than we normally spend when we do eat out. Again, this is one of the nicer places that we've ordered from, actually for the first time this month, and we did get it a few times, twice. Yeah. But which we'll get to. But yeah, $76.86 for the both of us for the meal and appetizers on top of it as well. I also got pizza. So this month I've actually been pretty busy at work and working more overtime than I typically would. And if you work up to a certain amount of hours in a day, you can expense a certain amount of money off of your meals if you order anything. So I did order pizza from this place called North of Brooklyn Pizzeria, which is also a really good recommendation. Yeah. I think we have some B-roll that we'll throw in there.
I'd say pre-COVID, really nice spot to go to. They have like old school games, like, you know, I don't know, what's it called, Pac-Man. Yeah, but they make good food too, so.
Yeah, so ordered from there, and part of it was expense, part of it was not. So I think, yeah, I spent And originally $29.89, but after I got some of it expensed, or will get it expensed, it was $12.89 for that pizza. We also ordered from a place called Craig's Cookies in Toronto. Wow, this is basically like a plug for good Toronto restaurants, because that's what I did this month. I think we have some photos of that too, but I mostly did get this one as a gift. We went that weekend for Thanksgiving weekend, both to my family's and to Den's family's place. Canadian Thanksgiving, by the way. That might have thrown some people off.
Oh yeah.
Canadian Thanksgiving.
Is in October.
Yeah.
There
So I bought a dozen of these handcrafted, really good cookies. They have like cookies and cream and Reese's Pieces and all this stuff in cookie form. So that was $48. That mostly went as a gift, but we of course ate some too. And then the last thing for them for that week. Oh my gosh, not even for the month. For that week for me was groceries. I went once on the 1st of October, and then we went on the 9th of October for an actual 2-week shop. And so the first charge was $18.42, and the second was $98.50, which is pretty typical for us actually when we're splitting it for 2 weeks at a time. So all that being said, my total for week 1 of spending, which is my highest week, was $1,295.26. Over to you.
Let me get the phone. All right, so first charge for me for week 1 was my debt payment. So a lot of you guys
Starting it big.
Yeah, we're starting it real big. A lot of you guys probably have seen some of my debt-free journey videos. So yeah, it was $1,400, and then from there we move on to Adobe Creative Cloud. So, you know, if you're a YouTuber, you probably pay for Final Cut or Adobe or something to create your videos. Next charge was actually Starbucks. Why did we go to Starbucks? Yeah, why did we go to Starbucks, Steph?
Well, typically you get us like 1 coffee each per month. So that was just like your typical.
Oh yes. So this is in the budget actually. So $11.71. There you go.
For two
for 2 coffees. That's really expensive, by the way. Yeah, for 2 coffees, $11.71. Next one is Netflix. So $13.99. So I pay for Netflix for. I pretty much pay for it for my family because we're typically using your Netflix, and I know.
Yeah, we use mine.
Yeah.
He still has his own account, but for his family.
But my family uses my account, so I'm cool with that. And then the next thing was similar to Steph, my half of the rent, so $9.25. Next one is, you know, we did a grocery run, and then after that was.
What was the amount?
Oh, sorry. The amount was $16.99, and then the next run was the full Metro run. Metro is the grocery shop we go to, so grocery run, and that's $81.51. And then our next one was, you know, like we said, we really like this new Thai spot. You know,
yeah, we did 2 weeks in a row. I didn't even realize that was my influence. You'll also in the budget.
So in the budget, I've budgeted for 1 date as well per month. So, you know, I'll usually ask Steph, hey, like, do you want us to go do something towards the end of the month? She said she wanted it that next week, so we got it that next week. Yeah. And that's $59.93. So all this is to say, and by the way, this is my biggest month, you know, primarily driven by the debt payment, but it was $2,539.95 out of my account.
But keep in mind that more than half of that, well, actually a lot of it's your debt and then your rent. Okay, so moving into week 2, this is a smaller week for us, both in terms of amount of purchases, but also amounts, which is a good sign. Kind of. It is for you, not for me necessarily.
Yeah.
So for myself this month, this is where I said that I unfortunately did buy way too much at Starbucks this month, which is not the norm. I've been pretty good, and actually if you've seen some of our past videos, at not spending anything there throughout the beginning of COVID, and now I'm back feeling too comfortable spending my money. So I did reload my card for another $50. So again, a $50 expense, that was for the rest of the month going onwards. So there were times that I went to Starbucks multiple times, but that was my charge for the rest of the month there. Didn't go again after that, at least in terms of the amount. We also, that week, so the second week of October, I DoorDashed some sushi for dinner one day. I actually talked about this if you haven't checked out our last video on our channel. It's kind of like a real money chat, all me rambling about intentionally spending and when you're not and you're impulsive. That was me this month. I've definitely had a more stressful month when it comes to work. Things like that. You've seen this from the majority of my purchase from here on. I just wanted to comfort myself, I guess, with ordering food, ordering whatever else that I'll get to. Yeah. And so I talk about that a lot more in that video, but if you want to hear more of my thoughts on why that is, I'll save the ramble this time. But I did buy sushi and it was $49. If I can, I typically try to do the tips that it rounds to an even number. So it's actually 49 on the dot. And then my last expense for that week was actually at Aritzia, which again, I talked about in that other video, but I did buy clothes, which was not the plan. And the total was $353.69. Now I will say this is the only time I've bought clothes without a gift card or something this entire year. I definitely didn't need to, and I definitely went a little overboard, but I got a sweater like this and a few other clothing items that at least I'm wearing. You can attest to that.
Steph's saying she's gonna be looking fresh for you guys, you already know.
It's a business expense.
You know, mixing it up.
Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't say that. That's a bad mindset to
It's a
get
business-
into. I'm kidding.
It is not a business expense.
Okay, so my total for week 2 was just those 3 charges of $452.69.
Okay. Nice.
What about you?
All right, switching over to me. What do we got? Oh,
No expenses.
no expenses.
I know. It's a quick
Let's
one.
go.
So yeah, we're done in week 2. Literally nothing in or out of, well, maybe in your account, but nothing out of
Yeah.
your account. Okay, on to week 3. This week, there's a few different types of expenses. At the beginning, I DoorDashed again. It was on a weekend, and we went to, we ordered from this place called Spaccio. Is that how you say? Spaccio.
I have no idea.
Basically, there's this really good coffee shop in Toronto that we like, and they have a bakery that I just learned was on DoorDash. So I ordered us some chocolate croissants and a sandwich for, it was like a sundae. I surprised you. At least it was good.
Yeah.
Nice surprise. But again, another me impulsively buying food, which I didn't need to buy. But it was $38. The next day was our hydro charge for the month. And again, we split everything in half. So it came in as $64.61, but my portion of that specifically was $32.31. We also went to the grocery store and it was $29.80. So we probably just got a few things. This would have been like our half week. We picked up some stuff to get us through till the end of the week. We also had an expense for TubeBuddy, which is another YouTube expense basically that we use. It's how we do some of our title research to get titles for videos like this one. That was $12.18. I also had another pizza expense, so another eating food out, which was also another overtime day where I worked over a certain amount of hours at work. This time I ordered from a cheaper pizza spot, so after the reimbursement, I only paid $7.42 for that. Again, not completely needed, but I was working till, I don't know, pretty late into the evening, so I ordered that. And then my last one was another order from Spaccio, because I really liked it the first time, and I ordered the exact same thing, which was croissants and a sandwich. But this was actually another overtime day for me, so I'm getting that reimbursed as well, which is nice. So this time it was only $20.75 after the reimbursement.
This isn't a normal month for Steph, by the way. Just throwing that out
Well,
there.
again, you'd see that if you've seen some of our past ones, and we'll do another one. But like I said in the last video that I did, it's keeping it real. I'm sharing all the different food expenses that I
Well, it's
spent.
good to be transparent, right? Like, we're not perfect, you're not perfect. Like, you're gonna have times where you slip up and you spend a little bit more money than you expected.
And still spending under my means. I still had savings left over for the month. Okay, so that was my week 3, mostly food expenses plus hydro and TubeBuddy, which led to a total of $140.06.
So my so my half of the hydro, $32.31. You already know what it is. I also want to point out that here in Toronto, at least, the weather is changing. It's getting colder. It's getting super dark. And on top of that, if you think about the environment that we're living in right now, like, you have some dark days.
You're meaning
That is
both
true.
physically and
both physically and mentally, right? Like, it's dark outside.
You're feeling dark?
You're feeling dark because you're waking up in the dark.
Yeah.
You're spending your
We
days in the
have
dark,
been
right?
feeling that.
But anyways, moving forward, Starbucks again, but this time I bought Steph a tea. Yeah, she's having a down day, so I said I'll buy you a tea. Let's go for a walk. Let's get out of the condo. The next big purchase I was not anticipating because I forgot about it, but it was our Squarespace annual payment. So for our website, anyone who's been on stephdden.com, by the way, we run it through Squarespace. So we pay annually, and it was $291.23. So although I wasn't expecting it in my mind, like, it is still budgeted out in my plan. So not that big of a deal. Like, it is a payment that's been accounted for. And then we had our Metro run, which was $75.66. This past week, me and Steph didn't have any breakfast one of the days. Like, we just didn't have any bread or anything in the fridge. So I told her just use my app for Starbucks and go grab us like a bagel or something, and that was $5.37. Total for week 3 for me was $422.75.
Okay, so we're almost done. Thanks for sticking with us. Whoa, wow. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're still here, on to week 4, which actually we're filming this before week 4, but we know in advance what our final expenses will be for the month. So on my end, it's the internet that always comes out at the end of the month, and my portion is $48.02. We also have my cell phone bill. I've talked about this before. It's an expense that I'm hoping to drive down in the future, but right now I pay $101 a month for my cell phone. And finally, my Netflix charge, which his was earlier in the month. Mine is at the end, and it's $13.99.
Yeah, and for me, week 4, like I said, nothing really much going on. Similar to Steph, my share of the internet, which was $48.02. Yeah, so Yeah, that's it for me.
So that brings us to the end of our week by week. As promised, we're also gonna, well, we did add all that up and got our monthly total each. So for me, my monthly total for the month of October was $2,051.02. Typically, like I mentioned before, if you've seen some of our past budgeting videos, which we can link for you to check out after this one, my goal for each month is about $1,800. So definitely higher than that. And again, if you wanna hear my thoughts on, again, why I spent too much this month, what my goals are, etc., you can check out that past video that I did last week. But I'll definitely be, you know, tightening it up and good for the rest of the year.
All right, so finally for my monthly total, it was $3,010.72. And, you know, like we said before, it was primarily driven by that huge debt payment of $1,400. And I also had that Squarespace charge that I wasn't anticipating this month. But like I said, it has been budgeted for, which is $200.
To wrap it up, I think it's interesting to see the difference. And again, it sounds like he spent more than me. Not really, in the sense that a huge portion is going towards his debt repayment, which is almost done. Claps.
Yes.
But overall, it's interesting because for me, obviously, I spend a lot more on food. I spend more on clothes. He had like a business charge with Squarespace and then the debt repayment. So I don't know, hopefully it was interesting to break this out and actually get deep into the numbers. We try and always be super transparent, share exactly what's coming in and out, well, mostly out in this case of our bank accounts. But stay tuned, don't judge me for my food and clothing expenses. You will see me getting back on track. And if you like this type of video and us breaking down what we spend in a month, we can do more of them, so let us know down below.
All right, guys, once again, we hope that you enjoyed this video. It was kind of funny when me and Steph were going through it, because if you look at my typical month, there's literally like no transactions in between. But yeah, it's good for us to, you know, do this, share what's realistic with you, especially being from Toronto and showing some of these bigger expenses. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, if you like the style of how we laid it out for you guys, you know, let us know down below. Make sure you comment. Like other YouTubers always say, it helps the algorithm. You already know what's good. If you haven't checked out some of our previous videos on, you know, our budgeting, our spending, our money, that sort of thing, make sure you check it out next door. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. You already know what it is. Let's